Lord, thank you for this opportunity to come together to work on the people's behalf, and Lord, to help us find ways to bring peace and freedom to this troubled world. In your name we pray, amen.
Roll call, please.
Jack Baker.
Here.
Kara Callan Watts. Bill England.
Here.
Bill John Baker.
Here.
Harley Buzzard. Julia Coates. Here. Bradley Cobb. Joe Crittenden.
Here.
Jody Fishinghawk. Here. Meredith Fraley. Janelle Fulbright. Here. Don Garvin. Chuck Hoskin Jr.
Here.
Tana Glory Jordan. Here. Curtis Snell. Chris Soap.
Here.
David Thornton. We do have a quorum.
Okay. We do have a quorum. Thank you. Because we do have Tana Glory Jordan and Jody Fishinghawk owned by remote. So I'd ask for a motion to approve the minutes of the last regular session.
Second.
Any corrections or changes? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next we have our reports. The Treasurer's Report, Ms. Ketcher.
Good afternoon, Council. We have our written report. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to try to answer them.
Any questions for Ms. Ketcher? Got off easy today.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kelly. Next, Cherokee Nation Enterprises, followed by Cherokee Nation Businesses. Mr. Stewart.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Okay, reporting on April results. Net income was about $7.5 million. Still below budget. Slightly down from what we would like to see, but we have competition, the economy. Our Hard Rock opening is about 30 days late. It's going to be August the 1st because we weren't quite ready. We want to have everything open. So we expect for that to, give us a little revitalization in the business. Our opening will be April 3rd, or August 3rd. So if you put that on the calendar, that evening, I believe, is when we're going to have you there for the official opening. So pre-mark your calendar for that, and we'll get with you with exact times and all that. We're focused mostly on opening and finishing the casino, the steakhouse, the top 2 or 3 floors.
Excuse me, sorry.
That's one to get on the list. Thank you.
Okay.
So that is where most of our time is spent now, finalizing the details of that. A lot of final things to do for the property to get it up in shape for August the 1st. We feel like we're going to have Toby will be there to open up, and it's going to be a very very nice grand opening. So I'd be happy to answer questions. A couple of things I want to cover. On the, we talked about disclosing our bid amounts. That was one of the things that Council wanted to see. And so we're working out the final details of how that's going to happen. We're going to do that. My gut feel is that we'll go to anything over 5,000 that is posted on the website at one stop. We would send a letter to the bidders. If there is a Taro bidder, that we would send a letter that said, here are the bids. We wouldn't necessarily say who bid what, but we'd say here's where the bids were, and we would give that to them, or we would give it to Taro and let them issue the information to the vendor. So we're still working out those details. I'm not really ready to say that we just want to put it out there public yet. I'd like to have another 30 days to make sure that we're doing it right. So I wanted to update you on that. Otherwise, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Yes, Dr. Cobb.
David, I like your glasses, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
There has been some discussion that I think some of the counselors and would like a kind of an update on the breakdown of not only American Indian hires but Cherokee citizen hires within departments.
Okay.
At C&E, and maybe even, and I'll get you more information on this. It's going to be a little bit more detailed than this, but I just want to give you a heads up. At specific casinos, at some of the different casinos.
Within departments at casinos.
Correct.
Okay.
I think I just want to kind of see an update on that and some of the promotion rates. So there may be a little bit more, but I just want to give you a heads up when you get an email. I think there's some counselors that going to have some input on that. So just be aware. I think they kind of want an update on it.
Yeah, we right now would break it down, at least in the report, that you get every month by casino, and then we divide it by supervisor across the board and by manager and staff. So, and then top management. So we do that, but we don't do it by casino, by those categories. So we can break it down as far as you want. I looked at the numbers today prior to the meeting, and the applicants for new jobs are about 40% native, but we're still hiring in the 60% and 70% range. So we're hanging within that 60 to 70. We haven't done a lot of hiring recently, but we're holding. So, over the past, even year or two, that number's been fairly consistent. So, another thing I might bring up is our succession planning model at the management level requires us to have, like, for example, in the IT department, IT has a director, and then we have 3 or 4 people underneath the director. Well, those people they're required to have Cherokees in training on a 5, 3, and 1 year path, so that our bench strength in Cherokees is very strong. It's obviously not as complete as it could be. It can always be better. But to let you know, and I brought the book, is that we have every key position with 3 people behind in staff. Some of those are vacant, but we work to try to fill those. And then we have analysis on what those people need in order to be promoted. So what we don't do is promote before someone's ready. We just don't do that, and it's not a good business practice. So if we see gaps where we don't have Cherokees in place, we get bench strength, we work on training models, and then we might be a couple of years out from promoting a Cherokee into that spot. But it really does a disservice to them and the company if we promote too early. So what I'd like for you to look for also, if we're deficient in Cherokees, you need to look at the bench strength and what our training model is to get them in there. We can't just go in and say we're going to put Cherokees everywhere if we don't have enough trained talent in those spots. So when I give you that information, we can go over it more in detail at some point if you'd like to, but just so you know that all that is in the works, and it's very detailed, and we spend a lot of time on it, and I think you'll be...
If I may, would next E&F, would that need to, is that give you a
Sure,
month? Would that be enough time?
Oh yeah, it's all ready, so it won't take long to prepare. And if you'd like, we could go into executive session since we're talking about personnel. That would probably be more appropriate, because I really don't, that's not a public type discussion, so I'd be happy to do that.
Thank you. Councilor Gore.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Recently, I had the opportunity to stay all night at the casino hotel.
Okay.
I did my inspection, and I want to tell you, it looks almost new. I don't know how old it is, but my wife and I stayed there.
Now, you're talking about the existing casino.
The existing, right?
Yeah.
And,
surprisingly...
You've been taking real good care of it. It looks like new.
Yeah, we go through typically a hotel goes through in a 5-year period, there'll be a substantial remodel, and we'll have to re-up all the furniture. But surprisingly enough, these rooms are still holding up after 5 years very well. And so I appreciate that, but I agree with you. I'm surprised.
That's good.
Yeah, thank
It's
you.
almost unused.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Sure. Councilor Buzzer.
David, on the bids that you're contemplating putting out to the public, just want to make sure that, keep in mind, when we do those bids, we want to see a breakdown of those bids. Not sure how we do it over in your shop, but if there's a bid to put landscaping in and a broken down by how much you're going to charge to bring new dirt in, how much you're going to charge to excavate. Those things need to be broken out instead of just saying, $10,000 to do the job.
Well, we don't ask for that. If we have a scope of work,
Yeah.
for example, to remodel this room, we wouldn't tell you to tell us how much your paint is going to be or the carpet. We would say, how much will you do the scope of work? Because they may not, because it really doesn't matter to us.
I know, but it matters to the contractor. That's what I'm saying, because in the road program, if you hire somebody to do this room here, and you decide you want to paint 2 more rooms down there, do you know what he's going to charge you? You don't know what he's going to charge you, because he's just going to give you a price to paint those 2 rooms. Road program, what we did is broke it out, how much you're going to charge for excavation, how much is your sod going to cost you, how much is fencing going to cost you, how much is asphalt going to cost you, because if we did another mile of road, we know what that price is going to be.
Right.
The contractor's usually going to be the one that gets it. We already know what it's going to cost us. So I know it's a little bit different than what you're doing over here, but if you're saying it's broken out, then that's what we'd like to see. Like if somebody says, well, I'm going to bid this 10,000 square foot building, and I'm going to do it for $50,000. We'd like to know how much he's going to charge you to put the sheetrock in it. We'd like to know how much he's going to charge you for painting. We don't know how much electrical is going to cost. Because what they'll do is they'll sub that all out. But I think it's important for a contractor to see some of those numbers. It's just like the building. If you're going to build a $10 million building and you're just going to say, here's what goes in it.
Well, 10 million, I think, would be different.
What I'm saying is we want to know what the painting's going to cost, what the electric's going to cost, or what the plumbing's going to cost. So that helps those smaller contractors kind of look at those bids to think, well, I was really too high on the painting job, or was really too high on the excavation, or something like that. If there's certain instances that you can do that, I think that would be very helpful.
We'll look at that.
And the other question is, what about our leak up there? Is it going to be okay? Or,
Well,
or I'm just concerned.
yeah,
Did the mold?
Do you understand what happened on that?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we have, actually, the contractor that came on board is actually measuring the moisture. And wherever the moisture is too high and they're not getting rid of it, then they're replacing it.
Okay.
So we're not really going to get any substandard work. If it dried out quickly, they're cleaning it. If it didn't dry out quickly, they're replacing it. And so Sean is monitoring that, and we're definitely on top of it, and it's going to be fixed just like it was. I mean, that's our rule, and we're taking a hard line with that.
Well, good, because I'm
Right.
not thinking that's just bad publicity.
No, I agree.
We're going to cover something up, you want it done right.
Oh, yeah. No, we're, trust me, we're holding the line on that. Sean Sean doesn't have many friends over there, so.
Councilor
Right.
Emily.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Brad and I continue to get questions all the time about the Ramona property. Where are we at on that?
Same place we were. It's in DC, and yeah, I mean, they're always calling on it, but we just don't get any activity because.
That's what we keep telling them, but
I know it's frustrating, but that's where we are. It's just still up there waiting for approval. It actually made it through, I think, the Muskogee office, and now we're waiting on DC. But I don't think that position has been filled yet by the Obama administration. Has it?
It got filled, I think, 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
And Marcia and Linda both made calls up there and asked me to look at it.
Okay.
So they weren't going to sign it as by the end of this month.
Okay. So hopefully we're closer than we were. I know.
Councilor Watts.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. A couple questions. I never got a follow-up on the pool situation on the bid. Maybe the Taro provider, local Taro provider who's Cherokee owned and operated was given a fair opportunity.
Now, that's on this pool.
On
The new pool?
The new.
Okay, that has not been let yet.
Okay.
That has been designed. It's under current final design. Sean, do you know? Yeah.
The individual you're talking about, they called and left messages. I think they talked to the person, so who knows?
They know it's coming out, and they'll certainly get an opportunity.
That answers that. And then I think more to the point on the bidding, I think we are all looking for solutions on how we can assure that the subcontractors and the workers the subcontractors and the contractors use beyond the core employees they list are going, how is it that we don't create a logistical nightmare in enforcing it to provide that we're using maybe the job bank or other ways of utilizing local Cherokee and other Indian workforces, especially in construction in a temporary job setting. And I think that's what we're looking for solutions for, and I didn't hear necessarily an offer of some way that we could do that. You don't have to answer that here.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that that's what we're looking for, I believe.
Okay, to push down deeper into the contractors.
Yes.
Okay.
Councilor Thorne.
I wasn't going to say much, but since you brought up the pool,
Yeah.
is there any way that you could come up with a report on the cost and the loss of having a pool there at the casino?
The what?
Cost and loss?
You mean
The loss of the cost?
Well, you mean the money we might be losing by not having a pool?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, it's zero, because the people don't not stay there because of the pool. They stay there because of the casino, and it's really an amenity. So I think long-term, people might go, well, there's not a pool there, and we don't want to go there. But right now, it's so new, and it's hard rock, I just don't think it matters. So I would tell you, I mean, there's no way for us to calculate it, but
What would the loss be for having a pool, to run a pool?
oh, you mean how much it costs to run the
How
pool?
much it costs to run?
Oh, I just have to go back and get that.
That's what I couldn't understand. Is, you know, why would we have a pool if that wasn't the reason?
Well, it's an amenity that's expected. You know, when you have a 3-star pool, 3-star hotel, which is our absolute minimum standard, we shoot for 4. A 3-star has to have a hotel, and so when people look it up and they go, what caliber of hotel do you have? If you tell them you don't have a pool, you know, you're kind of like a Motel 6er. I mean, you're just not up there with the caliber. There's just not any pool with a casino, or any hotel with a casino that doesn't have a pool. So it's almost, you have to do it, and if we didn't, it would be kind of out of the ordinary. So we almost have to have one. But you can't say that you would lose business because, you know, it's a fine line.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, it's a tough call, but I think just people expect it, and I'm not worried about it being late in construction, but I think over the long haul, it's just a requirement.
Well, I thought that might be the reason it was late all the time.
No. It's just the last thing that's going to be built. Last thing.
Any other questions for Mr. Stewart on Cherokee Nation Entertainment? Councilor Hoskins.
Thank you. It was my understanding, and maybe this has already happened, but C&E was going to construct something on a Catoosa property relating to like a museum or something like that. Is that something that's in the plans?
So you're talking about a cultural museum?
Yeah.
It's on the master plan on the north side where that parking lot is. It was built in a circular fashion with utilities and kind of a road pattern where we could put one right there. And it's in the master plan, but right now, you know, we have to allocate funds and decide its time and all of that. So.
And then, do we own up to where the KFC Taco Bell is? Do we own past that? That's north of the casino.
We own to the road, north, that goes up the hill.
Right.
We own all the way up to that road, and including the road.
Right.
So yes, we do. We own that.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Carter.
I was reading in the deal at the Blue Ribbon Dance down Sallisaw. Apparently it said in the paper they're going to be able to leave those machines at the casino. Is that true?
That's true.
Even though they're not a track?
Yes, there are 3 racetracks are allowed to have 200. Well, Remington is I think 650, and Will Rogers is 250, and Blue Ribbon is 250. And that is a business that's allowed to have a track is allowed to have those number of games regardless of the owner. So they're allowed to do that, as we are for Will Rogers, but we don't have to be a tribe.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions for Mr. Stewart on Cherokee Nation Entertainment? Next, Cherokee Nation Businesses.
Okay, Cherokee Nation Businesses. Just kind of right off the top, a couple of things on the compensation. We talked about the council wanted compensation based on hiring Cherokees and all of the different initiatives that the chief has, and the chief issued that letter request. We responded, and so the comp committee has that, high on their agenda for us going into the next year to base management's compensation on hiring Cherokees, using Cherokee vendors, and so on. So that, I just wanted to tell you that is in process, so I'll keep you updated on that. We continue to be focused on the acquisition of our IT company, and we signed the agreement, so now we're in the due diligence phase. We would expect to own that company after that due diligence is over within 60 to 90 days. So that's high on the list. We have a couple of other companies that we're looking at that are in the government business in multiple states. It gives us a good footprint. So our strategy is to get well entrenched in that industry, and then use that as a leverage to provide jobs for Cherokees, and then also bring some of that business back home. So it's hard to just buy the business here because some of the business is not here. So we want to buy the business we want, in other words. So that's in process, and I'll keep you posted on that. I'd rather not disclose the company name yet. We're under non-disclosure, so I'll just keep you posted as all of that happens. Our subsidiaries are doing well. CCRC is doing well with a couple of large contracts that were just awarded. APSE is performing well, a little bit less in budget, but their net income is okay. On the waste management, that is scheduled to open, I believe, at the end of July, so we're working out the management of that and making sure all those procedures are in place. So that would be my report. I know it's a lot of different things at the C&B level, but feel free to ask about any of those.
Councilor Watts.
Thank you. Have you guys set a numerical goals for Cherokee employment, job creation in the Cherokee Nation? Like me, because I know we're acquiring businesses. I guess the long-term plan is to move them in.
Yes.
Because I see C&B as the diversification and job creation.
Right. We're looking at whether or not percentage growth or total growth or growth based on investment. So to me, if we invest $1 or so many thousands of dollars, we should be able to yield a certain number of jobs back in the 14 counties.
Okay.
So that's not defined yet. It's a very difficult metric because you almost have to do it over time. So if we bought a company in Colorado, like we're doing in the IT, it might take us 2 years to bring a call center in and create 50 or 75 jobs for Cherokee. So what I'm encouraging the committee to do is to look at it over a 3 to 5 year basis, so we have benchmarks and we keep making improvement, because sometimes if you dictate to just create jobs this year, then you have a hard time finding that business. You might buy the wrong business. So we want to do business in a way that makes money, is profitable, and makes good sense, and then use that to bring Cherokees in. So we're trying to refine that.
Yes.
So at what point do you think you'll be able to come and present to us a new strategy, or what's the plan?
Well, I think the strategy is in place, but I don't think the actual metrics on number of jobs and what we really think that's going to do. So I think that would be the next step for us. So I would say as we go into the new year, we would have those metrics. So I'll just say by
1st of November?
Yeah, or before.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say at least by then. So
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any other questions for Mr. Stewart? Thanks very much.
Okay.
By the way, excuse me, did you have,
I want to amend the agenda.
okay, 1 second. We have Dr. Blackburn from the Oklahoma Historical Society that wanted to meet you before we get away.
Oh, okay.
So he's in the audience.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
My motion to amend is to bring that item number 1 under new business immediately forward so that Dr. Blackburn has the opportunity to return and before it gets dark.
It is number 1 under new business.
So make it immediate, both right now between the reports.
Oh,
If that's,
okay.
and then also to add the Shalaco items.
Okay.
And that can just go under at the last under new business.
Okay. So the motion is to have item number 1 now, and then add the Shalaco amendment as item number 4.
Second your motion.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor of amending the agenda, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Dr. Blackburn, you're up. I'd like to introduce Dr. Bob Blackburn, who's the director of the Oklahoma Historical Society.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor to be here today, speak before you. I'll just take a few minutes. I'm here today to ask for some help. The Oklahoma Historical Society has been around since 1893. And you may not know of all of our partnerships and the way we've worked together in the past, and because it's fairly subtle, and that it's not always been very visible. But just to summarize, we have in our collections right now about 7 million photographs. Many of those photographs are of Cherokee people, Cherokee Nation, Cherokee sites, Cherokee homes, going all the way back to the 1850s. Our oldest photograph in our collection was taken at Fort Gibson in 1852. So we know that's the oldest, and then there are many more on top of that. We have newspapers from every county and every community of the Cherokee Nation going back to 1844. We've been preserving those since 1893. They're on microfilm. We think we will soon get a digital grant, so you can get those on disc to use those in the nation. I think most important to most of you, and many of you have probably used the records, but in 1932, Congress gave to the Oklahoma Historical Society all of the records that had been gathered for the Dawes Commission at Muskogee. They were in the attic of the Muskogee Federal Courthouse when Grant Foreman was using those for his books. They lobbied R.L. Williams, a federal judge, former governor, was there at the time, Grant Foreman. And then a group of Cherokee leaders said, we need to get those records preserved. They were transferred to us. Today, you can come to the History Center and see those Cherokee records. They've been microfilmed. We're digitizing them now. They're accessible to any institution in the Cherokee Nation.
Dr. Blackburn.
Yes, sir.
Excuse me. We need to get someone back online, please.
Okay.
Hannah, I'm going to put you on hold.
Hello?
Hey, Jody?
Yes, this is Jody.
I'm going to conference you back in.
Oh. Hi.
All right, you should be back.
Hi.
Huh. You there? Yeah, we're both there.
Okay. Excuse me. Continue. Sorry.
Thank you. So the partnership has been long and I think very successful. Some of you may have been on the council. In 1992, we wrote a statute that was added to our Title 53 allowing us to transfer state property to tribal entities. And we have had several transfers. I don't know, some of you may have been there, but in 92, I was able to transfer the Cherokee Courthouse at Gore to the Cherokee Nation. There were about 250 people there that day. We could barely get in the entire place. Chief Mankeller was principal chief at the time. We've had other properties. We just transferred the land that's underneath Chalagi in the Cherokee Heritage Center to the Cherokee Historical Society. So our partnerships have been around for a long time. But we also have museums and sites, and that's where we need the help this year. Currently, we maintain really four sites, one that's unmanned, but 4 sites in the Cherokee Nation. We have Sequoia Home Site, which is one of our oldest sites in the state, and it is the Sequoia Cabin. During the 1930s, the WPA helped build a cover building. It was transferred to the state. We've been maintaining that ever since. We also have the Merle Home that dates to the 1840s in Park Hill, not far from here. We have been in about a 10-year project that we are just now about to complete of total renovation. We spent well over $1 million in capital funds at that site, as well as the staffing. We also have Fort Gibson.
Excuse me. Yes, sir.
I don't want to cut you off, but at the same time, I'll move for approval.
Second.
Thank you. All
Is there
right.
any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
May I?
Thank you.
Yes.
I completely concur with Council Baker. We fully understand everything you've done, and we appreciate it.
Well, thank you. I want to be a good partner. I just wanted you to know about those opportunities. I appreciate your help. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Surely. Thanks for coming all this way. Okay. We'll return to our reports. The Cherokee Nation Industries, Mr. Forster.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Our forecasted revenue for the month of May was $8,029,000. Actual came in at $7,451,000. Our profit forecast for the month of May was a loss of $129,000. Our actual loss was $94,000. So revenue was a little short. Our profit picture was a little bit better. We are currently working on our 2010 budget and plan to have that approved by the C&I board on July 10th. I believe you have our report. I can answer any questions that you may have.
Do you have any questions for Mr. Forster? Mr. Baker.
Knowing that this last year's budget has not been reached, or is next year's budget going to be closer?
I sure hope so.
I
We're, right now, tentatively, we have a small profit in our 2010 budget. I believe it's a lot more realistic than the 2009 budget, and a lot of the pieces to the puzzle we already have in place. So I'm a lot more optimistic about the 2010 budget than I was.
I mean, it's got to be frustrating to every month coming up.
I want to come here and give you good news. It is frustrating, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you. Next is Career Services, Employment, Ms. Kelly.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I had to laugh. I have to show you this, and I want to I showed this to Brian a while ago. He knows what that means, 17 more days. I was sitting back there, and that's why they were laughing. We're in the process of moving the Tribal Employment Rights Office that's behind the complex. We're getting ready to move it up to Southgate, which is right across from Sequoia School, which is right on the highway. So we'll be able to put our signs out there. We're also going to put the Job Corps Recruitment Office there. So we're real excited because we keep finding snakes over in our building. So Brian and Callie and I cornered Brian, and he's going to get out of there so we can get up there. But we're real excited, and we will probably have some sort of a little open house when we get up there on the highway. And we've got, oh yeah, we're going to leave that love nest. That's what you call it. No, seriously, we are real excited. There's a lot of good, positive things going on. We've been working with...
Councilor Gardner.
This is too late. I just wondered what kind of snakes those were.
Well, according to what Dawn told us, they had some little bitty sticky mouse traps out for mice, and they got over there that morning, and there was a little copperhead in one of them. Anyway, we've got guys over in that office, so they weren't too shook up by it. I said, okay. But we're in the process of getting out of there, and they're going to demolish that building because it needs to be demolished. And I think their plans are for them to build something else over there. So we're excited. There's a lot of good, positive things going on. With our economic stimulus and the NAHASTA program, we've been meeting with Marvin And Callie, Anna, and Shelley, several of us have been meeting on these procedures for the bidding process, and we're trying to incorporate what is necessary to go in place for the NAHASDA program. And it's going to allow us to be able to put some additional people on in the Tribal Employment Rights Office to do the monitoring for the Davis Bake and wage rates, which are required as part of the economic stimulus, and also do the Indian preference monitoring. And so we're going to be a little bit behind, but we're getting ready to move forward on that, and we'll have space for them so that they're not crawling over each other out there. So we're excited. I know that Dawn is excited. Willard Mounts, who was over in the Community Services Department, just recently came back over to Taro. That's where he started, and Willard's been on board for about a week. Saw some really good positive things going on over there last week. We had an abatement and a lead-based paint training program going on, and I know that you guys from Delaware County and Mays County will be pleased to know that the majority of the students that was in that class were from around Rose, Rocky Ford, Terracita, up in Kenwood. There was 17, and out of those 17, I think 16 of them were full bloods. And there's some of them that are going to go on to try to get a small business started. They will be able to come in with these rehab projects that are going on, because most of the houses fall into the lead-based paint abatement area, and these guys will be able to be hired with some of those crews to go in to do that. So we were real pleased. The guy from the State Department said that we're the only tribe that he will come out and do that training and certification with, and that he plans on coming back in July, and we'll have another class going, and he's going to come back down here to teach that as well. So they're real excited about it. And the guy that's doing the Saline Courthouse project is going to hire some of those guys to go up there and work after they get their certification. So we're very pleased about some good positive things going on there. We have over 650 summer youth kids. That's the largest amount of kids we've ever had on the program. And they go from age 14 all the way to 24. I would say the bulk of them are around the 16, 17, 18-year-old bracket. They're from all over. Some of the staff are still looking at job sites. We've quit taking applications. They're looking at trying to get some of the others that they have that were processed. I think the last counselor to get hers on board is probably Janet. She's working Muskogee and Sequoia County, and then Gwen Shot Pouch up in working up in the northern area, I think around South Coffeyville. She was back up there this week trying to get those kids placed. So we've got a big event planned over at Talking Leaves Monday and Tuesday. Our Job Corps kids went home for the summer yesterday, and we will be using the campus over there Monday and Tuesday for our summer youth kids. There will be a cultural day on Monday, and on Tuesday we have a career day planned. So we've got a lot of activities planned for these students. We've got Carl Husband, who's been our center director for 14 years. He's retiring at the end of his contract, and we're having a little reception for him from 4 to 5 tomorrow. And we've got several people moving around over there on campus to take over some of the positions that we've got vacant. We've had a lot of people retire here in the last several weeks. AERT, we had a job fair at Watts this week. Had over close to 480 to 500. I'm not sure what the number was. Last count it was 480, but we had close to 500 people show up there from 10 o'clock till 4 in the afternoon, and they were still turning them away at the door. We're going to go back up there in July to take applications. We were not really prepared to take applications. It was really a job fair, but we ended up taking some applications there at the job fair, and we will be doing this for 4 days up there at the Watts cafeteria in July. And we're also putting together a health professional job fair in Claremore. Melanie Dodge and her staff are going to be doing this. We've met with Melissa Gower and the hospital administrator at Claremore, and they have a shortage of RNs, LPNs, and we're going to be working with them to try to do something to help them like we did with Three Rivers back a couple of years ago. I want to commend Melanie Dodge and the staff that have been working this. Faye Beard, Faye's got one of the highest caseloads over there in Adair County, and she's still helping us with the job development and fruition foods. And so keep some of those people in your thoughts and prayers, because they are putting the work out, and they're taking paperwork home with them every night to stay caught up. because summer youth programs are a real short-lived program. Emma Gibson has been traveling to Albuquerque, New Mexico. She is going out there. She had to go for 4 weeks, and this is her last week. She graduates Friday. She will be a certified case manager. This was something that the Bureau of Indian Affairs put together, and they put a notification out. Emma said that she would go, and she went, and she's probably one of the top students in the class. And when she gets back, she's going to start training some of the other staff so that they can do the same thing that she got training in. We've got a lot of things going on. I know that some of you all have been in contact with our office or with me this week regarding some of the calls that you got from some of the parents or some of the students. And it was mostly regarding the pay. We've been in conference with Callie and her staff. This was a pilot project for us to put those pay cards out, and altogether I think we had maybe 7 problems. There was 3 that got those cards cashed at a local store out in one of the rural areas, and we're having to go back and get that retracted because you can't actually cash them because the store can't get their money back. And I don't know why the store cashed them, but they did. So anyway, we're back trying to get all that retraced, and then there was other kids that called that was on the program that got checks, and they wanted to know where their cards were. Well, they will get their cards in the mail before the next pay period. So if you have questions regarding the pay cards, if you'll just give us a call. If you can't reach me, you can reach Callie's office because we're trying to work on those problems from here on out. Any questions?
Yes, and I was going to bring that up about pay cards. I had reports that some kid was going to one of the banks here in Jay and charged him $2 to get money on the pay card. Then he went to Walmart and was going to use the pay card, and they charged $1.50 at Walmart. So to me, it's just taking money out of those kids' pockets, when that happens, and something's not right.
Harley, we had orientation sessions with all of them.
Ms. Ketcher.
If I could just address, we went over all of the rules with all of the counselors, and if a kid encounters that, they need to let us know, because the first withdrawal is supposed to be free, no charge whatsoever. And if they run into problems, we need to know about it. And there's also a customer service number on those cards that they can call with any questions. But after the first withdrawal, yes, there is a charge, and they were all informed of this during their orientation. Like Dan said, this is a pilot program to do a quicker turnaround for these summer employment students. So let us know or when people call you, tell them to call my office or Diane's office, and we'll work closely with them.
So you're saying the first withdrawal is free?
They should be able to take that card to any bank and cash it out for whatever their paycheck is at no charge. Just like if they went to a bank and cashed their payroll check. Now, some banks charge to cash a payroll check, and that was one of the benefits of this pay card, is not having to pay a check cashing fee. Because most banks now, if you don't have a bank account with them, or sometimes even if the check is drawn on their bank, they will charge you a fee to cash a check, anywhere from $2 to $5. So it was never intended that they would incur any fees unless they don't withdraw the whole thing at once and they start using it like a credit card. It was my understanding that if they use it at Walmart as a debit card, that there was no charges. We need to check on that because Walmart normally does not charge anything to use a debit card.
Well, that's what I thought. To me, it's a debit card. Anyway, I'll call up and find out.
Okay.
The cards are Chase cards, and Callie's office provided us a list of where those locations are per county, where those Chase cards are accepted, so they could go there to get those cash. So we did provide that to them, but sometimes they hear it, sometimes they don't. So if you'll just ask them to call us, we appreciate it. Are there any other questions?
Yes, Councilor Hoskins.
Thank you. I just wanted to thank you and your staff for reaching out to South Cottonville recently on the for the summer youth employment, I think some kids at least got on a waiting list perhaps, and I know the turnout was very low, and I think, I wasn't there, I think there was some reluctance to publicize it from that organization because of the fact that it was a waiting list, and just get those who seem to be sincerely interested. And so I hope it was a good use of your staff's time, but I really appreciated it.
One of the reasons why some of those people were put on the waiting list was because of our economic stimulus and our summer youth allocation. They had not actually arrived. In fact, we got notification this week that the money is here. I was looking to see if Callie was back there, but the money is here now.
I appreciate it.
Mr. Chairman, I have one more question.
The money is here now, right, Callie?
The agreement was sent off Tuesday.
Diane, there's a graph in here
Yes.
on your report.
Yes.
And it says Taro awards percentage summary, and I'm just really surprised. I see Cherokee Nation acquisition management is really low. And I guess I expected that to go higher since the housing authority is coming over under our realm, because at the housing authority, they had about an 85% Taro awards on all their bids. So I just wonder if that's not included in there, because I know the housing authority, they were about 85% Taro on their awards there.
I'll look at that chart for you and break it down. Sometimes it gets distorted by, I mean, if you think about it, that's all of Cherokee Nation. That's, you know, medical supplies that we order through IHS. That's everything. So I will get with Becky and
separate here. Cherokee Health Service is separate.
Okay.
Check
I'll get with Becky and get back to you.
Any other questions?
Oh, excuse me. That's what I mean.
Do I have any information on it? Right here.
What was the question? You couldn't hear
Right
it.
there. You can pass it around.
That's all I wanted. I just want to copy this cultural. Okay.
That's the only one I have though, but you can pass it around. You may have it. Any other questions?
Any other questions from Ms. Kelly?
Yeah, we invite you guys to come over. We've got a hog fry. Woody Wilson and they were coming down to do our hog fry for us 3 or 4 o'clock on Monday. We know it's going to be hot. Food will be good. Bye.
Next item.
Just pass
Next
it around.
is Commerce. Shay Smith, Ms. Nye.
Hi. I'm sorry Anna wasn't able to be here this afternoon, but I'd be happy to address any of the questions you may have about commerce. You should have a copy of our report.
Are there?
Chair, I have
Yes, Councilor Buster.
a question, Jack. On the charge-off loan, I've noticed on the reporting here, what are we doing to try to collect those loans? Do we have mortgages, or do we have, have they mortgaged something? Or?
Yeah, we have collateral for all the loans.
We do.
We do have a specific a staff member who is fully dedicated to collecting. And then the portfolio manager also collects loans. So even if they're charged off, we still continue collection efforts.
Okay, so it's not a dead issue.
It's not a dead issue, right.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Shay. Appreciate it. Okay. Next are consent items. The first one is the Taro certification. There's a list in your packet, but there was also an additional meeting after the packet went out by the Taro office. And so we asked for approval of the ones in the packet as well as those that were handed out today. So to entertain a motion for their approval.
Second.
Any discussion or any questions? That's for both lists. Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Yes.
I just wanted to make a comment. The reason you got 2 is because we're trying to accommodate those people that are getting their applications so they can come in and bid. And we pulled that certification committee together twice this last month. And as we start moving into the economic stimulus projects, it could very well be you may end up with 3 next month. So I just wanted to let you know that.
Okay. Appreciate it. And we appreciate your speeding up the process for them too. Okay. Next are the cemetery restoration assistance applications.
Mr. Chairman, in addition to what was in the original packet, there are 4 additional cemeteries. Stony Point Christie Cemetery, Adair County. Caney Cemetery, Cherokee County. Ketchum, Craig, District 9. And Peters Cemetery in District 3. A total of 8 cemeteries this month.
I would entertain a motion.
Motion to accept those.
Any discussion? Okay. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Those are all approved. Next are the law enforcement requests.
In the original packet, Gans Police Department was the only one listed. But in addition to that, we have the following, all from Mr. Garvin's district, $2,656 each to the following. OK Police Department, Town of Webbers Falls. Warner Police Department, Muskogee County Sheriff's Office, Forum Police Department, Fort Gibson Police Department, and Wagner County Sheriff's Department. In addition to that, Mr. England is depleting his balance with $5,250 for City of Owasso, and Mr. Hoskin, Craig County Reserves for $3,500.
We entertain a motion for approval. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Next is the community assistance.
You all have a updated community assistance report in front of you that has the distinguishment of the original submission in red text and the black text being so many of them. I felt we might just pass out the updated report. It's in a separate cover. There's all the blacks that are on there are in addition to the original, and I do need to add one additional item. Washington County Cherokee Association, Mr. Cobb, $500.
Entertain a motion for their approval.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Next are the roads.
This month's roads project has one motor fuel project, Oak Grove Church, Mr. Garvin, depleting his current year allocation of motor fuels tax, $60,606. Also, there are a few items under the special bridge funding where Mr. Thornton has $576 for the Evening Shade project. Mr. Snell has an $8 refund, as well as contributing to the Leach Kenwood Road for $8,242. Mr. Buzzard's also contributing to the Leach Kenwood Road for $1,758.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve all those we just read out.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. So there's no old business, and under new business, we have item 2, an act repealing superseding the Taro.
Mr. Chair, I would ask, I haven't had an opportunity to work with the co-sponsor for some changes I would like to do, so I'd ask that it be tabled for 1 month.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and second that we table. All those in favor say aye.
Hold on, I got a point, Jack.
Well, first of all, the motion to table.
Verification.
Okay, what's your question?
We're pulling this for how long? When will it come back?
It's 1 month.
1 month.
Okay.
Okay. Are there any opposed to the tabling? Okay. Motion carried. Next is our budget line 8. Mr. Evans.
Mr. Chairman, I did want to point out one thing. The text of the front of the legislation had a total of $573,954,000. That number was calculated before the full council meeting where the $280,000 Delaware pass-through was enacted, so that number has to be increased by 280 before we make adjustments for today's activities. And also the $50,000 donation that was approved earlier in the committee.
assume we'll add that to the donation budget and include it as a part of Mod 9. Is that wishes?
Is that the wishes of the council? I would entertain a motion to that effect.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded that we add the 50,000 contribution to the budget mod. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, this for clarification purposes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate it. We had a $4.9 million increase to the grants this month, with the lion's share of that $4 million to be in the diabetes grant carryover. $651,000 in COLA adjustments and quality improvement grant on the Head Start and Early Head Start programs, and a $225,000 grant increase in the Federal Transit Program. There were 9 budgets in Mod 9 totaling $2.2 million, with $1.5 million of that being in the Gen Fund. There's a long note there related to the Community Recreation Center that you've all had an opportunity to read. But with that, the Treasurer's Office has asked that that particular budget be substituted by, I believe, one that was handed out with handwritten words at the top titled Revised 625. That particular budget is being reduced by $150,000, and I would concur with the Treasurer's Office that it's inappropriate form and amount in its revised state. The Gen Fund operations budget.
Okay, excuse me, I got a question.
Yes, Jody.
Okay, did he just now clear up $150,000 this connection span? I want that to if he just now freed up $150,000.
There's $150. The result of the revised budget is $150,000 less utilization of Gen Fund revenues.
Okay, then here's my question. This morning I had Doug run a report on water and sewer, the individual water and sewer, and out of what's left in there, there's $56,000 obligated and there's $37,000 left in there. And I want to know if I can do this. Maybe I can't. I want to make a motion to move the $150 that he freed up to individual water and sewer because there's only $37,000 left in that account. Am I allowed to do that?
Yes, you may make the motion. And it's been
Okay,
seconded.
that's the motion I want to make.
And it's been seconded by the younger Councilor Baker.
Oh, okay.
Is there any discussion? Yes, Councilor Soto.
Do we expect a shortfall again, Doug, or are we moving money because we're moving money, or?
Let me give you a little background on that particular accounting unit on the individual water sanitation. We started with a $500,000 budget this year. They've expended $400,000 to date. The remaining 100, around $60,000 of that is encumbered with contracts. I can't tell by looking at the system if it's a blanket purchase order that's hitting that encumbrance journal, but it looks like it's contracts let for septic systems and water projects. The $37,000, yeah, we're 8 months into the year roughly, almost 9. They're going to be extremely limited on accepting applications after the month of July. The last 2 months of the year, if they continue at any pace like they've been this year, they're not going to be able to accept any applications.
Councilor Baker.
And unfortunately, there's folks out there that are building homes that water and sanitation cannot come to their house or work on it until the house is 90% complete. That's just one of the federal guidelines. And so they carry it through to the tribal funds as well. Well, if somebody, we got into the same deal last year where some folks had talked to them, been told, yeah, we'll take care of you, and then got down toward the end of the year and says, no, you're going to have to wait 3 or 4 months until we get our new money. And so running it this low, when Cherokees are out there, building homes, believing that we can, if they will finish their house at the wrong time of the year, then they just can't move in without water or sanitary sewer. So I feel good about moving that application.
Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Excuse me, continue that.
Okay. The Gen Fund operations budget has a $59,000 request. There's a couple of notes on here regarding it. The request said for prior year deficits. But as far as the EPC projects go, where the bulk of that Gen Fund request is, actually, technically it is a deficit, but it's not. In the face, it appears that it was an operational deficit, which would mean that they simply overspent their budget. But in reality, the truth is it was not. They were within their operational spending authority. The transfer didn't get booked in the prior year. The actual transfer of funds into their program. That was because this was funded from last year's appropriation bill, but the actual transfer of the funds to cover their expenditures never was made. So just wanted it's a clarification because there's another item down below that's the same situation. Taro, number 3, has a job training program requesting $1.1 million funded by the Taro fees, an amount of $430,000 of that, as well as quite a bit of grant carryover that's coming in from the Taro Eeoc budget down to number 9 at the bottom of the page for $710,000. Now that's the result is no net impact in the general fund, even though the Taro job training program is a Gen Fund activity. There's no net impact. The vehicle tax fund is requesting an increase of $103,000 for operating funds to move the Gore office to Sallisaw, as well as the addition of a J office with 2 staffers. The tribal force account has $48,000 increase for the EPC projects. Again, this is simply the authority to bring in and restrict the dollars from the Gen Fund that didn't get transferred in the prior year.
Councilor Garvin.
I'd like to go on record as being opposed to moving the Gore office to Sallisaw because Three Rivers people 20 more miles to drive to get a tag, and I think that Gore was right next door, Sallisaw is on down the road, so I'd be opposed to that. Thank you.
Jody, Councilor Thorne.
I'm going to have to go on the record with Mr. Garvin oppose the movement of the Gore tag office to Sallisaw. And that's one of the main reasons, because we have people from Whitefield up through Muskogee and over Braggs, Warner, that come to that office that will make a pretty good trip for them, a little bit further. The people from Sallisaw and Rowland and Muldrow would travel about the same distance as the people from Muskogee that way. But I'm opposed to moving that office. I think I spoke out with the chief and told him the same thing.
Can we make a motion to take that out?
Yes, you may make a motion.
I make a motion to table that or whatever.
Second.
Your motion is to table that portion.
Take it out.
Okay, your motion is to take it out. Okay.
Clarification.
Yes.
And I don't know the math, I don't know anything, but you're also doing away with the J office in that motion. So could I ask that we table it for a month and let them break those out separate? Table that line for a month.
What we're trying to do is stop the movement of that Gore office to Sallisaw.
So would you like to make your motion that you reduce the amount budgeted for that move, but leave the portion
down to zero.
But leave the portion for the J office? Okay. We don't have those amounts, but I'm sure that
the J office personnel is only contributing 480 hours of work time for the rest of the year, I guess. So it's right at $6,800 per staff. So around, that's their payroll burden.
But you would be able to get the exact amounts between the two.
Yeah, the program can disseminate the two for sure.
Okay. So your motion is to eliminate just that one portion.
It's the portion from Gore to Sallisaw.
But leave the J office intact.
Yeah, I'm not concerned with J.
Okay, so motion is made and seconded. Okay. So are we clear on that?
I'm clear.
Okay. Councilor Sutton.
Kelly comments, did you comment on that?
I believe the request to move the tag office from Gore to Sallisaw started out as a council initiative, and I don't know what studies have been done, but I assume someone had taken the tag data to see where people lived that utilized that office and how much additional drive time it would be. I believe most of the costs associated with this budget mod are for the J office because it's a brand new office, and the presumed move was just to close down one office and open a new one. I don't have the split of the costs readily available.
But you can get them before the full council.
I can request those from Sharon Webster, yes.
How am I supposed to write up this document in the meantime? I won't have quantified numbers.
You won't be able to quantify them until you get the numbers from Ms. Webster.
And that'd be in time for the package
yes.
for the full council?
I should be able to.
Councilor Baker.
If he's having trouble writing it, I don't mind tabling it, and then we can bring it off the floor at full council once they've got the right numbers. Table that line.
So are you making a motion?
I make a motion to table that line. And
do I have a second to the table? So tabling it until full council. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
So there's
I'm
three
not clear
opposed.
what we're doing.
Okay, we tabled this section for the tax commission, item 4 of $103,307. It's been tabled to full council.
can I talk?
Well,
Yes.
At which time, Callie will get you the division so that you can put back in J and they can leave out buy-in to Sallisaw.
my concern, I know it says operating funds and expense, but I'm wondering if any of
Well,
the
actually,
dollars.
we've already voted on tabling it, so there's no further discussion. Pardon? Do you want a roll call? We'll have a roll call on tabling. We'll hear from my attorney first.
I don't, this is just the parliamentarian in me. I don't know if you can table a certain item until full council. I think the appropriate motion, and we might just talk this out, I think the appropriate motion would be to strike that portion, pass this act to full council, and then you would amend on the floor and substitute it in from there.
I withdraw my table.
Okay. No, wait, but we've already voted those tables.
Well, the vote hadn't been
You were reading.
certified, you were going to call a red.
Okay,
We haven't said it on Carryover.
okay,
So I withdraw.
okay. Motion to table is withdrawn. And so your motion is to strike item 4.
Well, actually, I think
The motion is to take out the,
strike the move to buy-in, or from buy-in
Right.
to Sallisaw.
Gore.
Gore to Sallisaw, I'm sorry.
which is what I was clear on, but what I was,
Yeah.
Doug wanted to quantify, but I said he can't quantify until he gets the numbers.
If he strikes that part, then he'll get the numbers.
Right, that's what I,
Is there a line item on this?
That's what I'm unclear about is how can you strike something that's unquantifiable in an appropriation bill? You end up with something that you can't quantify in a past act. That's my problem. Is I've still got to get back to a number that can reconcile to the total accumulated budget.
any comments, Mr. Henry?
Well, I mean, is there a line, I mean, we're in a modification, we're a budget modification act. Is there a line in here that is either adding or deleting funds?
Line 4.
Line 4.
Yes.
Move to strike line 4.
And maybe before
Okay,
full
and
council,
then at full council, you can add back the J.
Yeah.
we can have the division of
My only concern is, and I know it doesn't say anything about materials in here, but we may be sitting there ready to do some construction between now and full council.
Well,
They
they
can't
couldn't do it
do
anyway.
anything to full council because it's not approved to full
Yeah.
council.
I see. Okay. All right. Okay. That works.
Yes, so the motion, your motion is to strike item 4. Is that correct?
I think with the advice of our attorney, that's the proper thing to do. So that,
And do you accept the motion in that form? Okay. Okay, discussion.
I can't see why we can't come up with a figure here. Doug?
Sir?
I can't see why we can't come up with a figure on what the striking of Gore to Sallisaw would be.
I would think
You know,
Mr.
I can't
Swepson
see why we can't do it
provide
now. You know, within the next 15 minutes. I can't understand that.
Oh. I don't know how long it'd take her to give us a revised budget that doesn't include the transfer from Gore to Sallisaw.
Ms. Ketcher,
If you could get that back to
If we
us.
just strike the transfer, what would it make any difference about the budget?
We don't know how much.
If you're moving the budget from Gore to Sallisaw, then that budget should be in that modification.
True.
If you're starting up a tax office at J, that budget, what it costs, should be in that modification. If it's not in that modification, we should strike it off.
True. Except the literature in the budget mod indicated that there are costs in this 103,000 for moving. And we don't know how much of the 103 is moving one versus.
So that should be in there.
I couldn't. You want to look at it? I couldn't tell.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I have emailed Sharon Swepson and requested the break. Like I said, most of the costs are going to be associated with opening a brand new office in J, but I do know there was some repairs and maintenance at the facility in Sallisaw, and I just don't have that number with me. I can get that information, and if this item is removed from the mod and brought back forward at full council, I can certainly have it forward at council.
Okay. The chair says what we will do is we will wait until Doug finishes going through the rest of the mod, and if we hear from Ms. Swepson before then, we'll bring the numbers forward. Otherwise, we will vote on the motion to eliminate that. But Ms. Fraley has speaker break.
Nothing.
Okay. Okay. So the chair says we're going to temporarily table that item until we finish the rest of the mod. No. Yeah.
I think you did.
It's a pregnant pause.
What?
If you want to. Yeah, continue.
Yes, sir. Okay, item number 5 is again the EPC project where the transfer ends coming in and being restricted for the prior year expenses. Item number 6, mutual help operations. It's a $350,000 increase. $300,000 of it is transferred from the housing proceeds of sale and $50,000 of insurance revenue. The $300,000 again was not transferred in 2008 and caused a negative fund balance or deficit of $170,000. So of that amount of this budget, that'll have to be restricted for prior year expenses and won't be available for expenditure again. 7 is the CDC Tahlequah extended care budget.
Hey, I got a question, Jack.
Yes, excuse me, Jody.
On the number 6, he just now said that it wasn't. I guess my question is, why are we missing these transfers? Because these aren't deficits. We're making them ourselves. I mean, we've already reauthorized this, haven't we, for last year?
These were appropriations made in prior year. The transfers, for some reason or another, and I'm not going to speak for administration, did not get booked. Well, that's the actual transfer of funds on the financial statements that cover the expenditures of the prior year. So if the transfer is not booked, those expenditures go basically unfunded, which drives a deficit or a negative fund balance on the financial statement. So hence since the transfers weren't booked in the prior year, we have to, in essence, reappropriate those funds again this year. It's not a double dip. I don't want to give that impression. We're not appropriating the, it's the same 300,000 that did not get transferred last year. We're reauthorizing that transfer again this year. But I can't answer as to why they're not being booked. Callie?
Okay, that was my question. I mean, I realize that we're not redoing it, it ain't double, but, I mean, we're reauthorizing whatever we already authorized. And I was just curious to why we're having to do it twice. That's it, Jack.
Okay. But we're correcting what was not done in 08, we're correcting in the 09. Is that correct, Doug? Okay, Kelly.
The EPC transfer I was aware of, and it was an oversight.
So we're actually correcting
We're just
last
correcting
year's
last
budget
year.
in
Last
this
year's
year's.
oversight on transfers. And I have advised my staff to make sure they check every legislative act to make sure that authorized transfers get done at year end, so we overlooked that one.
Are you clear, Jody?
Yeah, they just overlooked it, right? Basically.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Okay, okay. You want to continue?
CDC Tahlequah Extended Care is closing out an accounting unit, $500. Mahasda Fund has an environmental review and lead-based paint identification budget that has a carryover adjustment of $6,300. The Taro Eeoc has an increase of $280,000. That has to do with what I mentioned earlier in item 3 about consolidating those funds into the Tribal Taro Job Training Program. And finally, the Tribal Youth Council is receiving that transfer of $10,000 for prior year deficit. That completes.
Ms. Ketcher, you heard from Ms. Webster.
I did hear from Ms. Webster. She was in the middle of interviewing some candidates and was leaving to go work on that number, but I don't know how long it will take.
Okay. As I understand, the motion is to strike item 4, and then adding, if necessary, adding back the amount for the J office at full council. Because we don't have the number, we're going to strike all of item 4. Which I still think, Doug, that we should be able to just strike that one part and then wait for the number to be presented at full council. Yes.
Because it's a budget mod that we can come to full council without any type of documentation to verify this, item 4, where you add it back in?
Or you're going to balance if you don't get a number.
Pardon me, the question again? The answer is no. You always say it, but no.
Striking an item completely in committee. Is it because it's a budget process that we can bring it back at full council without any type of documentation?
You can.
A verification.
You can do whatever you want to. Okay, you can strike this. You can strike any parts of it. You can amend any parts of it. And we're in committee, all right? We will pass what is called Mod 9 from committee and send it to full council. We can do the same process on the floor of the full council. We can substitute items back in. We can take them out. My suggestion is that not to table something until carry it to full council is that you strike the, for lack of a better word, the offending item. Get your information. And then at full council, you amend Mod 9 to add whatever dollar figure you want back in on line item 4. Be it $100,000, I don't know if it's $75,000. We don't know the cost of, I guess, the wind down or the cost of closing the Gore office. Correct? That is the figure.
We don't know the cost of the J opening.
Okay, or the J opening
to put back in.
Yeah, But when we find out what that number is for the cost of the J opening, we amend mod 9 to put that number into line 4. That's, would be my suggestion.
So the motion is we're going to strike all of item 4. So are we clear? Any further discussion?
Yes.
Councilor Buster.
So what's gonna happen? I mean, we're gonna strike it, then what are we gonna do about the Sallisaw and Gore office? We're just striking it, but what's gonna happen?
We won't be providing the funds for the move.
Is that your intention? Is that the
They
intention?
can
of
still
the
pack up and move.
Just not gonna-
140,000.
It's kind of scary to be able to do that.
That's all, sir.
If it's really bad, it could just.
Maybe they can move it to Warner. It's not the same distance.
Okay. So, is there any further discussion on the motion to strike item 4? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? The motion carried. So item 4 is stricken. Now I would entertain a motion to pass the budget mod as amended.
So moved.
Any discussion?
I should have put my other agenda item before this, but we'll still be allowed to add this to
Yes,
it.
yes.
Okay, as long as there's question. Thank you. Call for question.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Next is our item 4, which is a resolution that has been passed out.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I move that we approve both the resolution that would rescind the $300,000 loan, and then it would put the $25,000 donation in place in lieu of the loan, like an outright gift.
Do I hear a second?
And to clarify, it would go into the budget bond.
Okay. Councilor Baker.
Okay. Can you give some history as to why we're not doing the $300,000 guarantee and we're giving them a $25,000 gift when originally we gave them a $50,000 gift and they refused it for the loan guarantee?
Yes.
Okay, the folks most involved are not listening at this time, but I will throw out that the conversations that I have participated in is that the $300,000 loan was problematic. It has never happened. That's been several months. I asked for a number that would be acceptable. The chief's office gave its number. Mr. Paris said that would be acceptable. This is, I'm sure we can come back with additional monies once that group actually performs work and shows us that the money is going to be expended in the manner that we all intended to be expended, and we can make additional donations at a later time. But I think that $25,000 is generous. They did turn down $50,000 before. I guess shame on them because the $300,000 loan, which really was zero. I mean, it would have been whatever interest in lieu, right? But I think at this time, $25,000, we should put it back on the table, get them started, and once they demonstrate that there can be work performed, we can provide more dollars. But they have not been able to process a loan, and maybe Callie can talk to that more because it was her office that was talking directly with Mr. Paris.
Okay. Is this in regard to the
Shalaco.
Yes.
Yes. I have gotten documents back and forth from Mr. Paris regarding the guarantee of the loan for the Shalaco Association. The documents I got were not in the form of Cherokee Nation guaranteeing a loan. It was in the form of Cherokee Nation opening a bank account with the bank where they supposedly were approved for the loan, depositing $300,000 as security for that loan. Totally different than what this council approved, so I kept going back and saying this is not what the council approved. And I think Councilor Watts met with Mr. Paris and some of the other members, and this is what they had worked on as an alternative to start some of the critical repair work that they wanted get started on right away.
Call for the question. Okay, the question's been called. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
And that will, just to clarify, that will be added into the budget mod at the next council meeting.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Are there any announcements? I have one announcement. We should congratulate Alan on his upcoming wedding on September 5th. September 5th. Okay. Congratulations. Okay. Are there any other announcements?
Move to adjourn.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.
Okay, if you will just bear with me, let's get the PAC subcommittee over with.